So we're talking about how the Republicans are going to respond to Kamala Harris. And one of the ways is going to be obviously attacking her laugh. The other way is going to be attacking her because she only has stepchildren. And that makes her a cat lady.
Yep.
And then, of course, they're going to attack her ultimately because they don't particularly like women. And they're not so fond necessarily of people of color either. But here is Stephen Miller feeling completely betrayed by his vice president.
Well, they're pretending it's all exciting, right? They're saying, this is exciting. No, it's chaos. You literally subverted your own democratic process as you spent the last 3.5 years.
Pause it for a second.
More.
I mean, let's be clear. When was this? This was Sunday night.
Yep.
By the time Laura Ingraham was on, Kamala Harris had raised something like $46 million in small donors. By the time she was on, almost all of the Democratic chairs of each party in every state had endorsed her. Now it's all 50. You have just about all of, you had certainly the majority of the caucus of Democrats in the House. I think you have almost all of them by now, including Nancy Pelosi. You have all the other candidates who are supposedly going to run in like the imaginary quick primaries. She's so bummed. And also, we're all faking.
Yeah.
We're all faking it.
That's
faking
so funny.
enthusiasm.
To be in a position as a political party to be like, you're actually not excited. You're actually in disarray. Like, that's I wouldn't want to be in that corner.
Trying to convince, and this is still democratic. This is the thing that I want to get through. It's not through elections. It's not in the ways that I wish it were democratic, because Biden chose to run for re-election and then had this steep decline. But it was still responsive to what people in the country wanted, right? Like, in the end, even though it wasn't done via voting, the polling was super clear that people wanted Biden to step aside for a younger candidate that was a majority position across independents and Democrats. And then he did. I mean, Pelosi had a big part in that, but that is still demonstrating democratic responsiveness. So when they say this is like January 6th, they're trying to draw this false equivalence. No. But Trump and his cronies were trying to overturn the democratic results of the election, the will of the people, as was documented. Biden is stepping aside because through, outside of electoral means, but polling through that process determined an overwhelming desire for him to step aside for someone else. So they can't say that. It's these two things are actually opposite.
All right, let's continue on with this. Go back to the beginning.
Well, they're pretending it's all exciting, right? They're saying, this is exciting. No, it's chaos. You literally subverted your own democratic process as you spent the last 3.5 years, more, let's say 6 years, or let's say 9 years, trashing Donald Trump for doing literally what you just did to your own voters.
Also, I just want to make it clear. Literally does not mean what she thinks it does.
Yeah.
Literally, the issue was trying to overturn a presidential election that is statutory in its nature. Primaries, incidentally, are run by parties. So, for instance, you can split delegates in the Democratic Party, but most of the primaries in the Republican primary is winner take all. That is just a choice by the nature of the parties. In this instance, if Joe Biden had been given the nomination at the convention, again, he was the presumptive nominee, and he decided to drop out, Kamala Harris would be the obvious choice because she was on the ticket that everybody voted for. But literally, again, does not mean what I think Laura Ingraham wishes it did. Go back a little bit.
Or let's say 9 years, trashing Donald Trump for doing literally what you just did to your own voters. There may be, 25, 30% of the voters who still preferred Joe Biden to remain at the top of the ticket, right? I mean, at least that.
Well, even
and they
more
don't care about
importantly
those
than that,
voters, Stephen. They don't care.
They held a primary. People, they had ballots. They filled out circles. They went to the voting booths. They spent money on advertisements. And as President Trump said, the Republican Party spent tens of millions of dollars running against Joe Biden. Now they just woke up one morning and said, never mind, we're canceling the entire primary. We're getting rid of our candidate, and we're pretending the election has never even happened, and we're going to let donors handpick a new nominee. They're publicly admitting that they are an oligarchy. They are not running a democracy. They are not running a representative republic. This is an oligarchy controlled by business interests. And the Democratic Convention is the private corporation that represents those business interests. This is as full frontal an attack on American democracy as we've ever seen in the history of America's major political parties.
Ever? I mean, ever? Really? Ever? Really?
Can he calm down a little? Honestly, he's sounding a little hysterical.
He still sounds like a high school debate guy.
Can you imagine, though, honestly, going to the American public and complaining that you've wasted your ad money against Joe Biden and he's not the nominee now?
Yeah. This is supposed to be a democracy, and I made ad purchases.
Right.
Hey, aren't you the genius businessman party?
Yeah.
Maybe you should have done a little what they call hedging.
Hey, Democrats, you're an oligarchy, but what am I supposed to tell Peter Thiel now that I've burned millions of his dollars on running for against Joe Biden in ads?
Put up Trump's Truth Social post.
Oh, he was melting down the other
He was
night.
melting down over this particular issue, and I'll tell you what. I have a theory about this. No, put up the one. Which one? This is the one about the
fraud.
No, about the money that he spent.
Right. Well, he claimed that the Democrats here. We showed this earlier, but
pop this up on the screen.
So we are forced to spend time and money on fighting crooked Joe Biden. He pulls badly after having a terrible debate and quits the race. Now we have to start all over again. Shouldn't the Republican Party be reimbursed for fraud in that everybody around Joe, including his doctors and the fake news media, knew he was not capable of running for or being president? Just asking.
Maybe you should have hedged that if you
knew that.
Yeah.
So everybody knew?
You know what's going on here? Yeah, I'll tell you what's going on here. Have we seen the producers, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes.
This is Donald Trump going like, I didn't spend all the money on my defense. What are you talking about?
Right.
I had to spend it all on Joe Biden. That's why we didn't have the money.
Yeah,
This is him already trying to make the argument for because Peter Thiel's going there like I'm going to give you $100 million, but I need to see some type of forensic auditing about what you've been doing with the money since from before now.
Right.
It was all Joe Biden's fault. He stole the money from me by making me run ads against him.
Hey, Stephen Miller, what happened to the whole we're a republic situation and not a democracy? Is that? I mean, look, it would be funny to use some of those old ads against him. I love seeing a white supremacist cry.
Well, speaking of that, Blake Masters was also in his basement, really upset. I think we should just tack this one on.
You mean failed Senate candidate Blake Masters?
Here's failed Senate candidate Blake Masters, who thought he was cooler than an astronaut, an alpha male and astronaut. But here's Blake.
Well, the Democrats just pulled off a coup. Where's Joe Biden right now? Has anyone seen this guy? Look, you don't have to go full conspiracy theorist to see that Biden was clearly forced out today. Just 48 hours ago, he was definitely staying in the race. I think his campaign chair went on CBS this morning and said Biden was for sure staying in. But Pelosi and Obama and all the billionaire donors, they had other plans. So they gave Joe the ultimatum. And in doing so, they threw out the results of their own primary election. Essentially saying to the voters,
what was the ultimatum?
Lost. You don't matter.
The ultimatum is that we're going to all ask you to drop out of the race publicly. Look, the real story, and I think, frankly, I mean, we went back and forth on this, and last week we were talking like all these stories about people around Biden, saying that he's weighing coming out of the race, all sounded very suspicious to me because people close to Biden would not leak this stuff if it was true.
Yeah.
But what happened, according to all reports, is that Biden saw the polling that just came out that saw him precipitously declining in states like Virginia that are slam dunks, in Michigan, Wisconsin, whatnot. And he realized that he was going to lose. Did he want to drop out? Did he want everybody to support him? Yes. And no, he didn't want to drop out. Yes, he wanted everybody to support him, but there it is. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.